Hello everyone. The topic which I am taking today is life cycle of Ascaris lumbricoids. Ascaris belongs to superphylum Esculmenthus, which are pseudocoelomate animals. That is, they have false coelom in their body. The coelom is not made by splitting of mesoderm. They belong to phylum Nematoda. All nematodes are roundworms. Their shape is round. Then they belong to class Phasmida. Phasmids are actually caudal sensory organs. That is, sensory organs which are present in the caudal end. And this is very distinguishable in case of Ascaris also. They belong to order Ascaroidea, family Ascaridae and genus Ascaris, with most common species lumbricoids found in India. These are endoparasite of human intestine. They are worldwide in distribution, mainly found in India, China, Korea, Philippines, etc. They infect children more than adults. Let us come to its morphology. These worms are elongated and cylindrical with tapering body ends. Their ends taper and they are long and cylindrical. They show sexual dimorphism, that is, male and females are different and entirely distinguishable. Females are 20 to 40 centimeter in length and their maximum width is 4 to 6 millimeter, while males are 20 centimeter long up to 20 centimeter and 2 to 4 millimeter in diameter. They are smaller in size than males always. In the caudal end, the male have cloacal aperture and pineal CT for reproduction, while the female have anus near the tail end of the body. All of them have excretory pore just below mouth, very small distance from mouth, and lateral lines are also visible in its body. They are usually light yellow to light pink in color, and these lateral lines which I mentioned earlier are 4 in number. One line is mid dorsal, that is in dorsal region. One line is found in ventral region and there are 2 lateral lines. One lateral line is shown here. Their mouth is triradiate, that is, they have the mouth covered by 3 lips, mid dorsal lip and 2 latroventral lips. Mid dorsal lip has double papilla in it and their margins are denticulate, that is, they help in sucking the already digested food from human intestine. Now, if we come to the anterior end of the body, it is small, rounded and terminal, and triradiate mouth is present, as I have already explained and shown to you. I just now mentioned that they have lip having minute double papillae. These papillae are tangoreceptors, while lateral lips have emphids which are chemoreceptors. They are touch sensitive and they receive chemicals, that is, they are chemical sensitive. Emphids and double papillae which is present here in the mouth. Here I have shown double papillae in the mid dorsal lip. In the posterior end, as I have already shown to you, the females have anus and male have curved tail, cloacal aperture is present. One thing I want to make clear to all of you here, that male have 2 spicules which help in sperm transfer, and these spicules are called anal CT, and the posterior end has cloacal aperture. The male cloacal aperture is common opening for digestive tract and reproductive tubes for ejection of sperms. That is, they have anus and male pore together combined in one cloacal aperture. Then let us go further. Gonopore is also present, which receives sperms for fertilization. Here I will show you female gonopore vulva is present here. It receives sperms for fertilization, and then after that the eggs are fertilized eggs are also liberated from here. Then there is excretory pore situated at near the anterior end of the body. See here, excretory pore. This is situated near anterior end of the body, and it has longitudinal H-shaped longitudinal vessel which are connected with transverse connective. That is, H-shaped excretory system is present in Ascaris. It is H-shaped and it removes body wastes from the body. Now this was only about morphology, which we should know a little bit before proceeding to the reproductive system and life cycle of Ascaris. Now reproductive systems of Ascaris. Male reproductive system consists of, here you see, pineal sac which contains pineal cyst, as I have already mentioned. Then here is ejaculatory duct. This is testis which manufactures sperms. Sperms are transferred to vas deferens, and from vas deferens it reaches to seminal vesicle, and from seminal vesicle for sometimes it is stored here, and from ejaculatory duct with the help of pineal cyst it is ejected out and transferred to the females. Now female reproductive system. Female reproductive system consists of ovary which manufactures eggs, or eggs are formed here. Then eggs are transferred to the oviduct. See here, the oviducts are coiled around the uterus, and the uterus contains fertilized eggs. Oviduct as well as proximal end of uterus. The eggs which are present here are fertilized through this aperture by sperms which enter from here, and then fertilized eggs are present in uterus which are liberated daily basis in the intestine of human being. So this is the reproductive system of Ascaris. Now about development of Ascaris up to first stage larva. Mating of worms take place in human intestine, as you all know. Then there is fertilization will take place in oviduct as well as proximal part of uterus. Then fertilized eggs get covered with chitin and a wavy cover is there, which is secreted by uterus. A very interesting fact is that a single female lays about 20,000 eggs daily, and nearly it can lay 27 million eggs. So even if the survival rate is very less, the race of Ascaris is well maintained. Now let us come to the development of fertilized eggs, that is zygote. Now in this diagram I have shown that this is the egg, sperm is entering here, and after fertilization zygote is formed. Then zygote divides equatorially. This division is called equatorial division because if this is the earth and this is equator, then it divides like this and forms two cells. We name it AB and P. These two cell stage then changes into T-shaped 4-cell stage by division of cells, but the divisions are different. AB divides transversely. AB divides like this. to form A and B, while P divides equatorially into P1 and P2, thus forming a T-shaped structure. Later, this T-shaped structure changes into rhomboidal shaped structure A, B, P1 and P2. I have named P1 as EMST because it gives rise to different parts of gastrula, mesoderm, etc. Different parts form from this cell. That is why it has been named as EMST. Now, B and A cell divide again to form B1, B2 and A1, A2, making 6-celled stage. Later, these cells divide and form a blastula containing a cavity which is called as blastocele, filled with blastocelic fluid. Then it has primordial germ cells also. These germ cells will later divide and form eggs in female and sperms in male. That is, they will help in development of the reproductive system. Now, blastula gets converted into gastrula, forming ectoderm, endoderm, and this is archenteron. The cells from here start going inside by invagination and form a cavity which is called as archenteron, and a mouth will form here. This is called as stomodium. Then primordial germ cells are here, which will again later form a reproductive system, and so like this gastrula is formed. Then from this gastrula, first stage larva develops and a shell is secreted around it in the uterus, which is 3-layered, consisting of inner layer of protein, middle layer chitin, and then outer layer of lipid and wavy margin. So, the larva which is present inside the embryonated egg is fully protected in the soil. Now, it will remain in soil as it is, and for several months it can survive like that. Now, let us proceed to its life history. The first stage larva is called as rhabditiform larva. It changes into second stage larva in the soil itself, and when a man swallows it along with food and water or any type of drink, then it infects the human body. Now, when it infects the human body, then the capsule coating of the second larva will dissolve in stomach, intestine, etc. due to presence of HCl and digestive juices. At this stage, size of the larva is 0.25 to 0.3 mm long, and width will be 13 to 15 micron, very small in size. The larva bores through the intestine, and from intestine through hepatic portal vein it reaches liver, then from liver it goes to heart, then from heart to lungs and lives there for some times. Then it changes into, molds into third and fourth stage larva. The larva after fourth stage is 2 to 3 millimeter in length. Now, from lungs, the larva will reach the trachea. Now, this is called as secondary migration. Previously, this is called as primary migration. It will be clear in the next diagram also. The larva reaches trachea and comes out from alveoli through bronchi. It is cuffed out. We cuff it and it again swallow the cuff, and through pharynx it reaches the intestine, where it changes into young ascaris. After some times it changes into adult and starts producing egg, and these eggs are later along with fecus go to soil, and the cycle goes on like this. Now, here is the life cycle of ascaris. which I have just now explained, and it will be clear from this diagram. Now let us go through it. Suppose we start from eggs capsule in fecal matter. In soil, it will molt into first stage larva. Then first stage larva will convert into second stage larva in soil. Now from soil, along with food or water, we swallow it and it reaches our stomach or intestine, where the outer capsule is dissolved and this second stage rhabditiform larva is liberated in the intestine. It bores through the intestine and through hepatic portal vein it will reach liver. From liver through post-caval vein it will reach heart. From heart through pulmonary artery it will reach alveoli of lungs. And in lungs it settles down, molds into third stage larva and fourth stage larva. The fourth stage larva crawls up and goes to bronchi and trachea. From trachea it is coughed out and we swallow it again, and this then reaches the intestine, where finally the fourth stage larva changes into young ascaris. Then young ascaris changes into adult and they start reproducing and producing egg capsules which are liberated in soil, and like this the cycle goes on repeating. One thing is clear, it is monogenetic parasite, that is it has only one host. Then secondly, there are two types of migration. First, it reaches intestine and migrates into different organs. This is called as primary migration. While second time it comes in the intestine and establishes itself there and starts reproduction. This is called as secondary migration. So this is the life cycle of ascaris. Then we come to some other topic related to it, that is aberrant migration. Sometimes what happens that larvae during primary migration divert from their normal route and they may go to brain, they may go to spinal cord also, they settle down there, or sometimes they do not leave the liver at all because they get very good food there and so they continue there. They die and form cysts there, and sometimes these cysts are very dangerous and they have to be operated upon. Especially in the brain and spinal cord, it may be very dangerous. Now come to the disease which is caused by ascaris is ascariasis. The effects which it shows are that it causes injuries to the organs like brain, spinal cord, kidney, muscles. Then there is inflammation and pneumonia is also caused in lungs. Then because it bores in the intestine and sucks the food there, so anemia, eosinophilia and leukocytosis, all diseases related to blood is caused by them. Then sometimes the adult, because they are sucking nourishment from intestine and they are producing toxins there, they shows various nervous symptoms like convulsions, delirium, and they sometimes go to coma also. And especially it affects growth in children. Now regarding treatment of ascariasis, a dose of hexylarisorcinol crystals in the form of capsules. Now it is not given ordinarily when it is confirmed that the person is having the infection of ascaris. After 12 hours of fasting this capsule is given, and then again 4 hours of fasting after that is followed by it. Now there is some antihelminth drugs also which are used in treatment of ascariasis like hetragen, piperagin hydrate, etc. Then how do we prevent ascariasis? We can prevent by some precautions, like when we are making vegetables, it should be washed thoroughly. We should cut our fingernails clean them. Hands should be washed regularly, especially before eating and making food, and we should drink clean drinking water. The water we drink should be very clean and purified. Then why Ascaris is successful as parasite? First point is that it has tough and thick cuticle. So digestive enzymes and antitoxins in our digestive system do not affect it at all. It sucks pre-digested food and plentifully available food in intestine is there. So there is no reason why it should die of hunger. Then it has low metabolic rate and it respires anaerobically. That is, it can live without oxygen. It can respire in absence of oxygen also, because in intestine there is very less amount of free oxygen present. One point which I had told you in the starting is that a female can produce around 27 million eggs. Even if 1% eggs of these survive, they are able to maintain their race. Then the eggshells are covered. They are very minute in size, they are weather resistant, and they are dispersed widely in soil and in water. So that is why their survival rate is quite high, and that is why they are one of the most dreaded parasite of human body. So that's all. Thank you.